We'll get to that a little bit, but we have to get to this. We talk about it all the time on this show because we talk about our lives and kind of what's going on. And it's so downstairs, we saw that there was some training facility. And Trey doesn't know how to drive, so you want to continue, Trey?
That's the real story here, is leaving the parking lot one day, I, in a hurry, and falsely anticipating that I would be clear, decided to run into somebody in front of me who was also leaving the parking lot. That somebody was Rich. Say hello, Rich.
Hello.
Who is part of an amazing team downstairs at a place called NeuFit, Neu.fit, but...
Lucky for you, a nice guy, too.
Lucky for me, a very nice guy. Cause
not the smallest guy in the world.
Rich is in ridiculous shape.
That's a way to put it.
Incredibly nice and I guess as understanding as you can be when somebody rear ends you. But a couple days after...
It wasn't Trey's first time to do that, by the way. That's how we met.
I believe it.
And I just said, you know what? You're still a good guy.
I saw it coming. I saw it in the river mirror. I was like, he's coming for me.
He's coming, isn't he?
The great thing about this is 2 days after the accident, Rich texts me and he says, wait a second. Are you a part of the Horn? Are you part of the afternoon on the Horn upstairs? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, why? What's going on? And I'm like, did the insurance company contact you? Is everything okay? He's like, no, insurance is okay. He's like, I want to invite you guys downstairs to check out what we're doing down here in terms of not only helping train some of the top athletes in the world, but also helping people get better through what is essentially high-tech physical therapy. So gradually, each of us went downstairs. I think we all went down together the first time.
Yep. You guys heard me squeal when they got my psoas. I was like, yeah, I gave them all my problems. They're like, put it right there.
Kevin.
And no one had hit that.
Kevin squealed. We've all gone there multiple times now.
It was like a 45-year-old woman and someone found the spot for the first time in 20 years. It's
Kevin.
Like, oh, my Lord, I'm still living.
Your hip and lower back have been an issue for about as long as you and I have known one another. And for the first time in our friendship, I'm actually hearing you talk about it feeling better.
Much
beyond
better.
Just a day or two after getting done with the chiro or the masseuse or something like that.
I have hope.
So with that
Hope's
said,
bigger than anything.
I hope that intro does you guys a little bit of justice. We want to welcome Rich and Garrett.
We've heard from Rich. Garrett, say hello.
Hello. Thank you for having us here. It's fabulous.
What is your role with NeuFit?
So I wear many hats. I've opened our office a little over 7 years ago and have been working with people mostly in an injury rehab setting, working with different injuries and chronic pain, and then transitioning more onto the training side. We had, thankfully, a lot of positive experiences where people started feeling better and were getting good results, and they wanted to know, what more we could offer them. And so we've developed and evolved a lot of the training side of things. And then Rich came on board about 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, and he's been handling a majority of that. And
he knows his stuff.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah. Now, Rich, do you have a bodybuilding background, training background, obviously?
I competed for years, and then I decided to try to become a professional. It just didn't work out. So I actually started selling the machines, the units we use. And
how did you find out about this?
I came to Garrett. I was selling these machines, and I looked up just randomly, is there a place in Austin that has this technology? And there was. Of all 3 places in the nation, Garrett was here. And I called him and said, hey, I think maybe you need a marketing rep out of the blue. And he said, well, come on in. And we chatted, and here we are.
Here we are. So let's explain to the people what this is, because when you go in there, I talked about my psoas, you have what looks to be almost like a Band-Aid sticker that you attach to certain parts of the body, and it is connected to what seems to be something that is electromagnetic, and it's giving you a pulse. Explain what that is. That was clearly the layman's version.
So the cool thing about this is, well, let me back up. It is a type of electrical stimulation, and so a lot of people confuse it with the TENS units or the regular type of electrical stimulation that they've seen at a PT office or at their chiropractor, because it's common. And this is like that in the sense that there's an electrical current going through the body. It's passed between 2 pads on the surface of the skin. However, it truly is a generation or 2 beyond, and the device is engineered differently and in a more advanced way that allows us to do some of these things that we're able to do with you.
So what is it doing to me? Why did I have those issues with the hip all the way down? The ankle was probably the main source, but it went all the way up to where my rib cage was twisted, you guys found out. What is it doing to solve that?
So if you have any muscles that are locked down and not working as they should, our muscles should all be able to lengthen freely. We should be able to move like a small child moves, be able to squat and hinge and do everything, easily. And as a response to previous traumas or different habits that we develop, our muscles tend to shorten and they restrict us and they protect us in the positions that we may most commonly be in. But that's a huge problem if we want to go out and move, because if muscles can't absorb force, then we are like a car driving without any shock absorbers. You might have the prettiest car sitting out in the parking lot, but if you go a trip or two down a bumpy road, force transfers into the body of the car and you have problems, or force transfers into your back and you have pain. And you've been dealing with that probably ever since Trey rear-ended you the first time.
Yeah, well, boy, luckily.
Hey, now.
Luckily, yeah, I'll go ahead and pass on that one. There were a lot of jokes there, but you talk about the back. My back doesn't really hurt anymore. Like we're kind of finding out more where it is. So obviously, I was feeling it in the back, but that really wasn't the crux of the problem. And I know, Rich, you said that you tore your whole right shoulder. Your right shoulder was pretty much just hanging off.
Yeah.
Is this how you found the technology?
I'm sorry. When I first came to Garrett, I was pretty broken up, to begin with. So we started on a few things, and years ago I did something to the shoulder. I think I used to do some fighting. I think maybe an arm bar did it. And progressively, I developed compensations over the years.
That's the story of all of our life. By the way.
I hadn't ever, fully gotten, even able to look at it. I was just going through the motions. Finally, it got to a point where something snapped, and I didn't know, what happened and what to do. So I finally got an MRI, and that was allowed us to find out what was wrong with the shoulder. And then apparently, I had torn the labrum, a grade 2 tear, supraspinatus tendon was a grade 2 tear, and the bicep tendon was a grade 2 tear.
Jeez.
With the acromion process shifted forward, and it was cutting into the bicep tendon, which is pretty much your shoulder falling off you. And we having that picture taken in the MRI allowed us to figure out what was wrong and do the necessary treatments to heal everything. And my shoulder's pretty much 100% after 3 months without surgery. And the doctor, no surgery, and the doctor wanted to do surgery, reattach the bicep tendon in 2 weeks.
Now, you guys have shown us pictures of one individual that I'm remembering. He had a bicep injury where the bicep was almost clearly off the bone. And you show him, I don't remember if it was 3 or 4 weeks later, but he was not only back to normal, but his muscle looked good. You talked about whenever we were down there the first time, that this is the same type of technology that not only allowed Peyton Manning to return to the NFL after such serious neck surgery, but also Adrian Peterson able to recover from major reconstructive knee surgery so quickly. So is it just the intensity of the electromagnetic stimulation that you're putting through the muscles, combined with finding those different trigger points that are really helping the maybe not the area that you're working on, but the injured area recover so much quicker?
Yeah, you definitely hit the nail on the head. It's both. It's both the intensity of the stimulus that we're able to provide and also the precision, because you talked about KD. We were able to find that psoas spot that was so meaningful.
I squealed like a pig. Chad and Trey looked over like, I think he's getting knifed.
And so the cool thing is, I was talking a moment ago about if a car doesn't have shock absorbers working. Well, if we have any mechanisms within our bodies that are holding muscles in that state, that shortened state, then when we scan with the machine is actually duplicating the signals that happen when your muscles lengthen. And therefore, if you have any of those mechanisms active in your body, they will kick in and fight against the machine. And so you'll actually feel a greater response. Even though the signal from the machine is constant, you'll feel this greater intensity of response within you. And that allows us to pinpoint very precisely where your weak links are and help us figure out where we need to treat you. And then, through the whole protocols and the process that you guys have been through, you see, yes, it's intense, and that's for a purpose. We don't just want to see, KD grunt or see Trey squeal a little bit.
You guys enjoy that.
Well,
Rich does.
Just a little bit.
Well, and for me, it was my right knee that was the big problem area that I was going into first and foremost. I mean, it only took 2 or 3 sessions for my knee to start feeling better in ways that I didn't think would ever happen again. And that was from you guys working the hip flexor on the same side that the knee was, working high up kind of between the quad and the groin on the left side, and then also the quad close to both knees on both legs. And just doing squats, using the door to kind of help out, and my body weight, my knee is feeling 1,000 times better than it was previously.
My legs are the same way. We've got Garrett and Rich here. It's NeuFit. They're downstairs, neu.fit. What other way can they get in touch with you guys? And this was, I guess before we get to that, this was athletes for a long time doing this. Mm-hmm. So Jalen Smith's doing this right now. This is what Peyton did. This is what Adrian Peterson did. How come it took so long for this to get to some broken down 37-year-old dude who just wants to breathe?
That's a very good question. And a lot of things start with either elite athletes or racehorses or people who are so sick that they're willing to try anything experimentally. And then it just takes a little time to trickle down. And that's part of what I see my mission as being, is taking these things that were once only available to the elite of the elite, the most highly paid athletes, and bringing it to everyone who can benefit.
I'm not going to name names because I've seen guys down there who were big-time athletes at the highest level. In fact, I'll say this name. Greg Swindell texted when he heard it. He goes, "Tell Garrett hi, he changed my life." So Greg had 17 years in the big leagues, never had a surgery, and that guy was throwing from 84 to 86. You want to talk about logging some innings. Gus would be putting Huntsville now for doing that. I mean, it was like, wow, you can't throw that much, but he feels a lot better. The athletes are there, but I'm also seeing a lot more people that may not even be broken down, that just want to work out with Rich. Rich, you'll put people through a workout even if you're not broken down, but usually you find something.
We generally try to search, the body just to make sure that everything's working properly prior to training. But we're using the machine to contract muscles, sometimes 70% harder than human body can normally do, and upwards of that. Sometimes we're using the machine to lengthen muscles out. We're using different pulse rates. We're doing all kinds of things with the training, and we're looking, maybe one workout's equivalent to close to 3. That's some research we're trying to do right now to kind of find out the level of intensity, but it's far greater than you can get in the gym. And you guys, I think that Trey experienced a little bit of the training.
Yeah, I got some the other day, and the only thing I liked was the abs. I felt like a dead fish who wasn't happy with her husband.
That's because you just get to lay there.
Right, you can just get to lay there. And I woke up the next day, I was like, I felt like I did abs. That's the secret I'm looking for.
I've done one training session, and I'm not even kidding you guys. I've told all you guys, and it gets brought up on the air from time to time in terms of Top Gun volleyball scene, that I love saying volleyball. I did one training session and played volleyball 6 or 7 days later and was jumping higher than I have in a long, long time. And I had people telling me also, like, dude, what's gotten into you today? You're jumping out of the sand. I'm like, hey, I think I just discovered something miraculous in the way of sports training.
It does feel like a youth serum. We're talking with Garrett and Rich. It's NeuFit. So I gave the website, neu.fit. How else can they get in touch with you guys?
Well, we have a small but growing social media presence. We're at NeuFit RFP for Rehab Fitness Performance on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the website's good. Our phone number is 512-225-6909 if anyone wants to call and has any personal questions. There's also a contact form on the website if maybe someone's wondering whether our work can help them with their particular challenge or concern.
And the challenge can get big. You guys showed me a video. I like to think that I'm one of your broken down clients that you can talk about, but there's the best story by far that just tugs on your heart. You guys have a lady who, talk about a fighter. She was riding a horse, I believe, got paralyzed, had not walked in 20 years, guys?
25.
25 years. And you guys, with this, that's when it really took at least my knowledge of it to a different level, and I really wanted to look at the history of it, and I thought this is going to be like Pilates. Joseph Pilates was just in a village doing that to fight polio. Like, you have to go back, and sometimes it can really change the whole world. She is crawling now, and you guys think she's going to walk at some point.
We do, and the cool thing about this story is that it really gets to the heart of what we're doing, because she started making significant progress in actually the first 6 weeks.
Had she moved her legs?
She had only been able to move her feet.
Okay.
So she made a little bit of progress in the first year after an original accident, which was a horse riding fall and injury. And she made a little bit of progress, and then literally for 24 years, no more progress. She had been in a wheelchair. She tries to stay very active, and she's very dynamic and has a fabulous attitude, and she would go hogging or hand jogging. So she would go miles in her wheelchair, pushing herself with her hands, just to tell you the kind of spirit that she has.
Probably some strong forearms, right?
Yes. And so the cool thing about this story is that she literally in the first 6 weeks had, in an impossibly short time, had these amazing gains. And it speaks to the fact that, it's not long enough for us to really create plastic changes in her brain or remodel anything in the nervous system. So what we're really doing is tapping into some potential that was there all along. So it's the same thing that Trey, he had the ability to jump that high in the beginning. In one treatment, we didn't make him stronger. We didn't take him through a 6-week progression or do anything like that. We just, by using this method of signaling with the electric stimulation, we taught his nervous system to lift off some of these governors to allow him to jump higher. And with Amy, she's given me permission to use her name, so no problem there. But with Amy,
she's a courageous story.
Yes, absolutely. And she had some of this already inside of her. She had all of this already inside of her. It's just a matter of her nervous system couldn't find the commands to actually use her legs again. And now, with the help of what we've been doing over the last, now it's been between 10 and 12 weeks, she's able to, essentially reconnect and reactivate some of those areas. But it's really important that it's waking up, lifting off this governing mechanism that was limiting her ability to express that ability that was in there all along. She's really waking up this reservoir of strength and ability and coordination and movement that was there all along, and it's really cool to see.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you kind of have to be there to see it. But, guys, Trey, do you have anything else? I mean, that's probably a good one to end on.
I just wanted to thank you guys. That's an amazing story, but I don't doubt it for 1 second, because in a very small amount of time per session, you really do see amazing results. At least I do in my experience with you guys. So thank you very much. I imagine that you deal quite a bit with shortened hip flexors, considering how many people are sitting in that 90-degree angle position throughout the day. And I know that's something that has really helped me out, helping to lengthen that hip flexor and the psoas area out.
It's kind of a 2016 issue. We've actually had a couple of texts about that. Hey, I sit in a chair 9 hours a day and it sucks. Can you help out with that?
Well, the cool thing about the machine is you can get the equivalent of a lot of work in a very short period of time. So you can undo the effects of a whole day or a whole week sitting pretty quickly.
Well, we wanted to bring this to everyone because you guys, once I found the athletic component, I thought, okay, this all makes sense. Like you said, they're always ahead of that. And this is something that we definitely wanted to share with our listeners. It's been life-changing for us. Garrett, Rich, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And hello to Greg.
Hello to Greg Swindell, who is going to be in studio sitting a lot better because of you guys. I'm going to see you all tomorrow. Don't kick my ass too hard, all right?
Thank you, guys.
Actually, do kick
I'll
it.
make you
Yeah, I know you will. That is NeuFit, Garrett and Rich. Really good people down there. And Trey, it was kind of a blessing in disguise for us because we found it. And I've been going to chiropractors, massage therapists, and all of them have helped, especially the massage therapist. And the chiropractor did too, but it wasn't really changing long term. And this definitely is. I just want to continue to do it and stay on that level. Like Rich said early on, if you're in my level, you need to go a little bit more often. But you feel the results really quickly.
And I'm able to speak from results of not just walking around dealing with less pain, but also getting out there and running around probably quite a bit for somebody who's 38 years old.
We're getting dollar bills under your shoes now when you jump.
I'm much less
that wouldn't
Costanza
happen at 21, all right?
Much less Costanza with my ups now. I mean, what can I say?